Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and you are just coming off the absolute best performance of your entire career.
Oh yeah, the absolute peak.
Right. Like you played perfectly, the fans were screaming, you're on top of the world, and you open your phone expecting to see this massive flood of congratulatory messages,
Sure.
but instead your notifications are just completely melting down because there is a viral video of you looking straight into the camera, just aggressively endorsing a completely fraudulent cryptocurrency
It's a
scam.
nightmare.
It is. And the thing is, you never filmed it, you never approved it, but millions of fans are already watching it, and well, they are blaming you for losing their money.
Yeah, welcome to the terrifying new reality of modern sports.
Exactly.
It is a chilling scenario, and I mean, it is happening right now. For decades, we have defined athletes by, what we can see and measure,
So
right?
the physical stuff.
Exactly. The stopwatch, the measuring tape, the points on the scoreboard.
Hmm.
We've always categorized human achievement through physical reality. But that physical reality is just, it's being completely hijacked.
Which is exactly why today's deep dive is going to completely flip the script on how you, as a curious learner listening to this, understand the actual value of an athlete today.
Yeah, it's a completely different paradigm now.
We are looking at a really incredibly murky landscape today. We are pulling from an article that details a new initiative. It's called the Protect the Athlete campaign, and it was launched by a company named Instant IP.
And our mission for this deep dive is to really explore this massive high-stakes collision that is happening in real time.
Right.
On one side, you have this exploding sports economy.
Mm.
In the middle, you have the athlete's intellectual property, or IP.
Mm.
And then bearing down on all of it is the absolute wild west of generative AI.
The Wild West is definitely the right term for it.
Oh, 100%. Because at its core, we are talking about the fundamental definition of human identity in the digital age. I mean, who actually owns the geometry of your movements? Who owns the unique cadence of your voice?
Okay, let's unpack this by first looking at the sheer financial weight of the modern sports economy. Because, well, we have to understand the prize before we can really understand the theft.
That's a great point.
The entire landscape has completely transformed around name, image, and likeness, what we call NIL. The source material highlights the recent House versus NCAA settlement, and I mean, the scale of the money is frankly staggering.
Staggering is almost an understatement.
Right. Just to put this in perspective for you, Division I schools are now looking at sharing up to $20.5 million per school with athletes during the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
And we really have to emphasize that that number is per school annually.
Annually, yeah. And that is running alongside approximately $2.8 billion in back payments. Billion with the Bay. It's just this astronomical amount of capital suddenly flooding into a system that, until very recently, insisted these athletes were essentially amateurs playing for the love of the game.
Right, playing for school pride and a scholarship. That settlement didn't just open the floodgates, it fundamentally rewrote the financial reality of amateur athletics literally overnight.
Yeah, overnight.
But to really grasp the mechanics here, we need to look beyond just American college NIL. The World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, released statistics that reveal this isn't just an American college sports phenomenon.
No, not at all.
This is a global migration of value.
Yeah, I was looking at those WIPO numbers, and they are wild. They report that from 2016 to 2025, sports generated more than 1.25 million trademark registrations.
1.25 million.
Yeah, and on top of that, there were over 65,700 published sports technology patent families and roughly 70,000 design filings.
Let's just, let's think about the mechanics of what those numbers actually mean. 1.25 million trademarks in less than a decade means athletes and sports entities aren't just signing autographs for $20 anymore.
No, they're building empires.
Exactly. They are filing complex legal documentation to stake a claim on catchphrases, logos, nicknames, and full brand identities.
It fundamentally changes how you have to view the players on the field. Like, you really have to compare the modern athlete to a walking, talking Fortune 500 company.
That's a really good analogy.
Right. Because their physical body, their athleticism, the sweat equity that is just the storefront. It is the flashy window display in Manhattan that gets you to stop and walk in.
Right, it gets your attention.
Exactly. But their name, their image, their unique personality, that is the actual enterprise. That is where the real scalable equity lives.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, name, image, and likeness wasn't just handed out as a fun perk for players to make some pocket change. The legal and sports systems designed NIL to be a strict permission system.
The permission system, right?
It was built as a structured, highly regulated way to monetize this newly recognized asset class.
Hmm.
Think of NIL as this massive, highly secure bank vault.
Okay, I like that.
The athlete puts their identity, their storefront, and their enterprise inside that vault. If a corporation, a sponsor, or, say, a video game developer wants to use that identity, they have to come to the vault, negotiate the terms, sign the contracts, and pay for the key.
And there is a whole army standing guard at the door of that vault, too.
Oh, absolutely.
You have lawyers, you have sports agents, compliance officers at the universities, and they are checking IDs, they are scrutinizing the language of these massive contracts, and they are making sure the compensation is fair before anyone gets access to the athlete's likeness.
Yeah.
It is a really slow, analog, heavily guarded process.
Which relies entirely on visibility and enforcement. If someone tries to steal from the vault, the guards see them. But that brings us to the terrifying turning point in the landscape today.
Yeah.
What happens when a brand new technology doesn't even bother trying to pick the lock on the vault?
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because generative AI doesn't pick the lock. Generative AI looks at the vault, ignores it entirely, and just 3D prints counterfeit gold right out in the lobby.
Wow. Yeah, that is an excellent way to conceptualize it. Generative AI fundamentally ignores the architecture of the permission system.
Completely ignores it.
It doesn't need to break into the vault to steal your identity.
Yeah.
It just scrapes the internet for every press conference you've ever given, every game you've ever played, and it learns how to perfectly synthesize you.
It is the ultimate loophole. Generative AI is completely bypassing all of those established rules of NIL we just spent time breaking down.
Right.
According to the sources, AI can now clone, manipulate, and monetize these identity assets in literal seconds. And it does it without a contract, without a single shred of consent, and without a dime of compensation ever reaching the athlete.
And the mechanism of this bypass is what makes it so incredibly dangerous. We are seeing synthetic media, deepfake videos where athletes appear to endorse all kinds of things.
Yeah, some really sketchy stuff.
Exactly. We are talking about unregulated health supplements, highly questionable financial products, and even intense political messages.
And I want to pause right here just to be perfectly clear to you listening. The danger the sources are highlighting is not about which side of the political aisle these messages fall on.
No, not at all.
Whether an AI generates a hyper-realistic video of a star quarterback endorsing a far-left policy or a far-right candidate, our deep dive here is completely neutral on the politics themselves.
Right. The politics are secondary to the actual violation.
Exactly. The core violation, the mechanism of the theft, is that the AI is co-opting the athlete's voice without their permission. The athlete never approved the message, regardless of what the underlying message actually is.
To build on that, the technology generating these videos doesn't actually care about the content of the message either.
Right.
It cares about the engagement metrics that the athlete's recognizable face brings to the content. It's exploiting trust. And the capability goes far beyond just synthesizing a voice for a fake podcast ad.
Oh, yeah. It's so much more than audio now.
Synthetic media is now capable of recreating an athlete's physical body in motion. It can perfectly render their unique touchdown celebrations. It can recreate those highly recognizable, idiosyncratic signature movements that fans instantly associate with them.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on this a little bit. Because I was reading that part in the article about synthetic media recreating, signature movements or a celebration. And I found myself getting a little skeptical.
How so?
Well, if an AI generates a synthetic version of an athlete doing a goofy touchdown dance, or that unique, jerky way a specific player steps back for a three-pointer, I mean, is that really a massive systemic threat? Or is that just internet fan art?
I see what you mean.
Right. Kids have been imitating their favorite players' batting stances in the driveway for 50 years. Where is the actual line between a harmless, viral internet meme and actionable identity theft?
It is a crucial distinction to make, and it's actually one that regulatory bodies are grappling with right now.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is how the World Intellectual Property Organization explicitly breaks down that warning.
Okay.
WIPO is warning that recognizable human movement can now be generated, manipulated, and monetized without the athlete ever participating. The danger isn't the joke. The danger isn't a kid making a meme on TikTok.
So what is it?
The danger is the reputational risk and the illusion of a commercial relationship that simply does not exist.
The illusion of a commercial relationship. So you mean like the viewer scrolling on their phone sees the deepfake video and genuinely assumes the athlete signed a contract and got paid to do it?
Precisely.
Yeah.
If a fan makes a crude animated cartoon of you dunking a basketball, every consumer on Earth knows it is fan art. It lacks the fidelity to fool anyone.
Right, obviously fake.
But if a generative AI creates a photorealistic synthetic video of you executing your signature move while holding a specific brand of energy drink, and the lighting is perfect and the physics of the movement are exact, the consumer cannot tell the difference.
Wow.
The illusion is complete.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see the mechanism now. Because if that energy drink turns out to be toxic, or the company running the ad is actually a shell company running a credit card scam.
The public blames you.
Yeah.
Because as far as their eyes told them, you were the one holding the can.
Yeah.
And here is where the financial damage cascades.
Oh, man, the sponsors.
Exactly. Your legitimate sponsorships, the Fortune 500 companies that actually went through your vault, negotiated with your lawyers, and paid you legally, they see this fake association.
And they panic.
They see the public backlash. And they might invoke a morality clause and drop you just to protect their own brand equity. WIPO notes that these fake endorsements destroy brand value, and they often do it before the athlete even knows the content has been generated.
That is deeply unsettling. You could be sitting on your couch, icing your knees after a grueling game, and meanwhile, a digital clone of you is out there on a decentralized server, running rampant on social media, ruining your reputation, threatening your college eligibility, and voiding your real hard-earned contract.
Because AI completely routes around that analog permission system we talked about. It strips the athlete of agency. And the real terrifying realization for the sports industry is that traditional legal frameworks are fundamentally useless against this specific threat.
Because of the speed, right? Like sending a cease and desist letter that takes time.
It takes an incredible amount of time. Let's walk through that mechanism. If someone steals your IP today, your lawyer has to find the video. Then they have to figure out who is hosting it.
Which is a whole project on its own.
Right. Then they have to draft a legal complaint, cite the specific torts, file the paperwork, and wait for a judge or a hosting platform to respond. That process takes weeks, if not months. A lawsuit takes years.
And generative AI creates a deepfake in 3 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The asymmetry is the entire problem. The damage is done globally, the scam has collected its money, and the video has been copied to 100 different servers before your lawyer even finishes drafting the first paragraph of the legal complaint.
It's impossible.
You cannot fight a digital exponential threat with an analog linear defense.
So if the legal system takes weeks to stop a fake video that took 3 seconds to make, and the athlete is ruined in the meantime, how do you actually fight a machine that moves that fast? You can't outrun a supercomputer with paperwork.
No, you definitely can't.
And that brings us to the counteroffensive. How is the market trying to solve this massive asymmetry?
This is where we look at the strategy, detailed in the article, launched by Instant IP with their Protect the Athlete campaign.
Right.
It is designed as a global initiative, actively urging everyone in the sports ecosystem, athletes, their parents, agents, schools, collectives, sports organizations, to identify, document, and leverage their IP before it can be scraped and stolen.
There is a quote in the article from Dr. Kary Oberbrunner, the founder and CEO of Instant IP, that really stopped me in my tracks. He said, "Athletes train for years to build a name. AI can steal that name in seconds."
It perfectly encapsulates the friction we are discussing. Years of physical trauma, mental dedication, and brand building, just stolen by a text prompt typed into a computer by an anonymous stranger.
It's brutal when you put it like that.
It is. But what I find really compelling about the Instant IP approach is how they frame their core philosophy. Oberbrunner explicitly states, "We are not anti-AI. We are pro-athlete."
Right. They aren't burying their heads in the sand. They aren't saying we need to smash the servers and ban artificial intelligence and go back to 1995.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Generative AI is here, and it is going to get infinitely better at mimicking reality.
Unquestionably.
Instead of fighting the existence of the technology, they are demanding that the new digital ecosystem include consent, attribution, compensation, and control for the human beings whose identities are fueling these AI models.
So what does this all mean mechanically? Like, how does a platform actually do that? From what I understand in the source material, the way they are fighting back is entirely focused on speed.
Yes, speed is everything.
Their platform is designed to allow athletes to protect original content, brand assets, and those signature phrases or movements we talked about in less than a minute.
Less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, they even mentioned that they let athletes protect their first asset for free through a specific web link, which is instantip.todayathlete. But the key is that sub 60-second time frame.
That speed is the critical mechanism.
Mm.
Because if you want to establish legal ownership of an asset, say a specific catchphrase you use in post-game interviews, or the exact biomechanical sequence of your signature celebration, you have to establish prior art.
Okay, prior art.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to prove that you claimed it before the AI generated 1,000 variations of it.
I was trying to wrap my head around this concept of locking down a physical movement or a phrase in under a minute. And the only analogy I could come up with is that it's like digital watermarking a soul.
Oh, that's powerful.
Think about the human element, you know? It takes thousands of hours of physical sweat, of agonizing repetition in an empty gym, just to develop a unique play style that fans instantly recognize. It is deeply, deeply human.
Right.
But if you don't have a mechanism to translate that human effort into a legally time-stamped digital ledger instantly, the machine just absorbs it. Being able to secure that IP in software time is literally the only way to match the speed of the software trying to steal it.
And this raises an important question about the very nature of what constitutes an athletic career moving forward. We are witnessing a fundamental structural shift. Athletes are moving from relying purely on physical durability to requiring digital durability.
Digital durability. Wow, I really like that phrasing.
The article draws a very stark contrast between the two. An athletic career, by its biological nature, is incredibly fragile. All of that physical success, the training, the momentum, it can change or end entirely with a single freak injury on the turf.
Just one bad step.
A torn ACL, a severe concussion. The physical journey has a definitive expiration date for every human body.
Nobody outruns biology. Even the greatest of all time eventually have to retire. The storefront eventually closes.
But an athlete's intellectual property, a well-documented, rapidly secured, and carefully managed IP portfolio. That portfolio doesn't tear a ligament.
Right.
That portfolio doesn't age out of the league or lose a step on its vertical jump. If protected correctly, an athlete's identity, their brand assets, their NIL, can create income, impact, and opportunity long after the final whistle blows.
But the whole point of the WIPO warnings and the Instant IP campaign is that this is only true if they secure it first.
Right, if they beat the AI to the punch.
Exactly. If they don't, a torn ACL might end a season, but stolen, unregulated IP can ruin a lifetime of generational wealth. It's almost like modern athletes have two entirely separate bodies they have to protect now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
You have your physical body on the court, wearing the jersey and the knee braces, and you have your digital body out there in the cloud, wearing your trademarks and your brand identity.
And both of those bodies are under constant, intense threat. They're just facing very different types of opponents. One faces a 250-pound linebacker.
And the other faces a decentralized server farm generating synthetic media.
Exactly.
So for you, listening right now, let's bring this all together and look at the big picture. We started this deep dive by acknowledging how easy it is to look at athletes strictly through the lens of physical performance.
The stopwatch and the scoreboard.
Right. But what the source material has shown us today is that the true value of an athlete has fundamentally migrated. It has moved out of the purely physical realm and firmly into the realm of intellectual property.
The financial figures from the NCAA settlement and the staggering volume of WIPO trademark data prove that the modern athlete is a massive commercial entity.
A Fortune 500 company.
Exactly. But because generative AI has figured out how to completely bypass the traditional slow permission systems of NIL, these athletes are facing unprecedented reputational and financial risks. They are dealing with a technology that clones and monetizes their identity in seconds.
Which is exactly why initiatives like Instant IP's Protect the Athlete campaign represent the necessary new frontier of sports defense. You can't just tape up your ankles and watch game film anymore.
No, that's not enough.
If you want to survive the modern sports economy, you have to legally lock down your identity assets at the exact same speed as the internet that is trying to exploit them.
It is a completely new paradigm.
Yeah.
And it applies to everyone entering the ecosystem, from a high school recruit trying to build their first brand, all the way up to a seasoned professional trying to protect a 10-year legacy.
It really is a whole new world. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. something that builds on everything we've talked about today regarding the mechanics of AI, but takes it one step further into the future.
Let's hear.
The sources mention the necessity of protecting signature movements and phrases, things we can visibly see and physically hear, right?
Yeah.
Things that can be easily scraped from a YouTube video. But we know that artificial intelligence is getting exponentially better at seamlessly analyzing massive amounts of data to find hidden patterns.
Absolutely.
So think about a genius point guard. Think about the unique geometry of how they see the floor, the underlying invisible strategy of their unique play style.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
If an AI can analyze 1,000 hours of game tape and perfect a virtual simulation of how that specific player's brain makes decisions, does an athlete eventually need to copyright not just how they look when they move, but the very way their brain solves problems in real time?
Oh, wow. That is a profound question. We're talking about moving from protecting the physical expression of a movement to potentially having to patent the neurological instincts behind it.
Exactly. It makes you realize that the pristine scoreboard we talked about at the beginning is only telling a tiny, almost irrelevant fraction of the story. So keep questioning the digital world around you. And remember, the next time you see a viral highlight reel pop up on your feed, you aren't just watching a game. You are watching a highly valuable, incredibly vulnerable intellectual property portfolio in motion. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.